November 30th, 2018, began as a typical morning in Anchorage, Alaska. The city awoke under a pale winter sunrise, with the promise of another ordinary day. The airport bustled with travelers, planes, and routine. People hurried to their gates, families reunited, and workers prepared for another busy day. Suddenly, at 8:29 a.m., the ground trembled. First a subtle vibration, then a violent bone-jarring convulsion that seemed to come from deep within the earth itself. A magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck just 10 miles north of the city, its force radiating outward and shaking Anchorage to its core. Inside the terminal, chaos erupted. Lights flickered out, ceiling tiles crashed down, and water pipes burst, sending water spraying across the floor. For 30 terrifying seconds, the airport was plunged into darkness and confusion, the only light coming from emergency signs and cell phones. People screamed, dove for cover, and clung to anything stable. Some hid under benches while others pressed against walls, hoping the shaking would stop. Outside, jets bounced on the tarmac, and the control tower swayed alarmingly, its windows rattling as controllers struggled to maintain composure. The normal order of air travel vanished, replaced by primal fear and a desperate focus on survival. Alarms blared, and emergency protocols kicked in. When the shaking stopped, a stunned silence fell, broken only by alarms and the sound of dripping water echoing through the terminal. Dust hung in the air as people emerged from hiding, faces etched with shock and disbelief at the devastation around them. The destruction was everywhere. Buckled floors, collapsed ceilings, shattered glass, and debris scattered across the once orderly terminal. The earthquake had shaken not just the building, but the confidence of everyone inside. Fear lingered in the air, mingling with uncertainty. The airport, Alaska's vital link to the world, was now a disaster zone, with emergency vehicles racing to assess the damage and help the injured. Confusion and uncertainty reigned in the immediate aftermath. People searched for loved ones and staff tried to restore order amid the chaos. Travelers and staff tried to process what had just happened, comforting each other and sharing stories of where they were when the quake hit. The sense of security was gone, replaced by disbelief and anxiety. Many sat in silence, trying to comprehend the enormity of the event. The airport's role as a lifeline for Alaska was suddenly in jeopardy, with runways damaged and flights grounded indefinitely. The day had started with routine. It ended with the city forever changed, its people united by a shared trauma and a newfound resilience. Anchorage would never forget the day the earth shook its core, a day that tested the city's spirit, but also revealed its strength. In the C concourse, panic swept through the crowd, a wave of fear that seemed to ripple from one person to the next. The ground trembled violently as the floor heaved and windows threatened to shatter, sending shards of glass and fear through the air. The noise was deafening, like a building being torn apart from its very foundation. People clung desperately to chairs, parents shielded their children with trembling arms, and strangers, united by terror, pulled each other to safety, forming instant bonds in the chaos. In the control tower, air traffic controllers made split-second decisions, their voices steady despite the turmoil below, ordering pilots to abort landings as the entire structure swayed alarmingly, threatening to topple at any moment. Aftershocks rattled nerves, each new tremor reviving the terror and uncertainty, making it impossible to know when safety would return. The airport, usually a place of fleeting connections and hurried goodbyes, became a shelter for a community of survivors, all stranded together by fate. Amid chaos, stories of courage emerged. Employees checked on passengers, guided them to safety with calm determination, and pilots secured their aircraft, ensuring that no further danger would come from the planes themselves. The initial shock gave way to resolve, as people slowly regained their composure and began to help one another. Passengers, staff, and crew worked together, showing remarkable calm and cooperation in the face of disaster. Their actions set the stage for the organized response to come, laying the groundwork for recovery and hope. The airport's ordeal was just beginning, but its people had already proven their resilience and strength. In those moments, survival and solidarity defined Anchorage, as people comforted one another and shared what little they had. The Great Alaska Earthquake had united strangers in a shared fight to endure, forging a sense of community that would last long after the tremors faded. The airport's response would become a model for disaster management, inspiring others with its courage and unity in the face of overwhelming odds. As the dust settled, airport emergency teams sprang into action. Police and fire crews swept the terminal searching for the injured and trapped. Their presence brought order to chaos. Engineers and operations staff began assessing the damage, focusing on the runways, taxiways, and control tower. The airport is Alaska's lifeline for cargo, mail, and medical supplies. Its health was critical. The FAA issued a ground stop, halting all incoming flights. TSA and local law enforcement secured the perimeter and assisted with evacuation. A unified command center was established to coordinate the multi-agency response. Communication was key. Teams needed a clear picture of the damage and a plan for recovery. The world was watching as Anchorage's airport became the center of a massive emergency operation. The initial response laid the groundwork for a safe and effective recovery. Every minute counted in the race to restore order. The most serious concerns lay beneath the surface, hidden from the casual observer but critical to the airport's safety and operation. Engineering teams meticulously inspected every inch of runway and taxiway, searching for cracks, buckling, and any signs of instability that could compromise aircraft movement. Soil liquefaction had caused entire sections of ground to shift and sink, threatening the very foundation on which the airport was built and making the surface dangerously uneven. Underground utilities, water, sewer, and power lines were severely damaged, cutting off vital lifelines and making basic airport functions impossible until repairs could be made. The control tower, though still standing tall above the chaos, needed a thorough safety inspection before it could be safely used again. Sensitive air traffic equipment, essential for safe landings and takeoffs, had to be carefully recalibrated and tested for accuracy. The damage was widespread. Misaligned jet bridges, offline baggage systems, and structural issues in the terminals all added to the growing list of urgent repairs. The airport's problems were deep and complex, affecting nearly every system and structure, both above and below ground. It was clear that reopening would require far more than just cosmetic repairs. A complete overhaul of damaged systems was necessary. Safety for passengers and aircraft could not be guaranteed until every single issue, no matter how small, was fully addressed and resolved. The earthquake had exposed vulnerabilities in the airport's core infrastructure, revealing weaknesses that had gone unnoticed for years. The path to recovery would be long and meticulous, requiring careful planning, coordination, and constant vigilance from everyone involved. Every system, from lighting to communications, had to be checked, tested, and officially certified before normal operations could safely resume. The airport's future depended on the thoroughness of this hidden work, ensuring that when the doors finally reopened, safety and reliability would be restored for all. With critical damage confirmed, airport officials made the only responsible choice: a full shutdown. Anchorage's airport, a global cargo hub and Alaska's main gateway, was closed indefinitely. The ripple effect was immediate. Hundreds of flights canceled or diverted, global logistics thrown into chaos. Inside, stranded travelers faced uncertainty, gathered in safe areas awaiting news. The airport became a place of stillness and waiting. The focus shifted to managing a humanitarian crisis. Thousands needed food, water, and information. The closure allowed crews to assess and repair without the pressure of ongoing operations. The silence on the runways was a stark symbol of the earthquake's impact. The road to reopening would be long and demanding. The shutdown was a public acknowledgement of the disaster's severity. Anchorage's lifeline to the world was now in the hands of those working to restore it. The city braced for the challenges ahead. Thousands of travelers were stranded with no clear timeline for flights to resume. Anchorage's hotels filled quickly. Residents opened homes and community centers to those in need. Volunteers brought food, blankets, and comfort to the airport. Alaska's reliance on air travel meant the shutdown disrupted everything: goods, medical supplies, and industry. Airlines rerouted flights to Fairbanks, but capacity was limited. Customer service lines were overwhelmed as people tried to rebook. The human cost was measured in missed connections and uncertainty. Yet the crisis revealed the best in people. Strangers shared resources, local businesses offered help, and a sense of community grew. The ordeal forged bonds among travelers and locals alike. The spirit of the last frontier shone through adversity. The shutdown was a powerful lesson in Alaska's dependence on its airport. The pressure to reopen safely was immense. Anchorage's response became a testament to resilience and hospitality. news of the disaster reached Washington, D.C. This unlocked vital resources. FEMA, the Department of Transportation, and the FAA mobilized to assist. Secretary Elaine Chao coordinated directly with Alaska's leaders, promising technical and financial support. Federal engineers and inspectors joined local teams, speeding up damage assessments. Emergency funds covered the massive repair costs, ensuring safety was never compromised. The partnership between local, state, and federal agencies was essential. The swift federal response sent a message of solidarity and national importance. Anchorage's recovery became a model of coordinated crisis management. The race to reopen the airport began immediately. Crews worked around the clock, repairing runways and stabilizing ground affected by liquefaction. Just 12 hours after the quake, the first commercial flight landed, a sign of hope and progress. Cargo flights soon followed, allowing a phased reopening. Engineers used lessons from the quake to reinforce structures, making the airport stronger for the future. The disaster became an opportunity to upgrade and improve. Within days, passenger flights resumed and cargo flow increased. The speed of recovery was astonishing thanks to dedicated crews and robust building codes. The airport's rapid reopening became a case study in disaster response. Anchorage's resilience was on full display. The community's determination turned crisis into opportunity. The airport emerged safer and more resilient than before. The experience would shape future preparedness across the nation. The Anchorage earthquake revealed the vulnerability of even our most critical infrastructure. It underscored the value of preparation, strong building codes, and resilient design. The airport's survival was a testament to past investments in safety. The response showed the power of cooperation. First responders, engineers, government, and community working as one. The kindness and determination on display became the true legacy of the disaster. Anchorage's story is not just one of destruction, but of recovery and hope. The roar of the first plane landing symbolized a city's determination to rise again. The lesson: respect nature, invest in resilience, and face challenges together.